Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Housing and asks, does he believe that all New Zealanders should have access to appropriate and affordable housing?
The Honourable Tony Ryle.
Mr Speaker, on behalf of the Housing Minister, as the Minister stated in the House yesterday, we are committed to assisting New Zealanders most in need. Budget 2010 contains $1.76 billion for over 300,000 households who are provided assistance through income-related rents and the accommodation supplement. That's an increase of 17% compared to Budget 2008. And in Budget 2009, we also committed $350 million to insulate 180,000 homes over a 4-year period.
Moana Mackay.
Supplementary to the Minister, why, when there are more than 1,100 people on Housing New Zealand waiting lists in the Wellington region, 332 in the Hutt Valley alone, are more than 40 state houses sitting empty at Pomare?
The Honourable Tony Ryle.
Mr Speaker, as was made clear on television last night, there are matters to be dealt with in the courts with respect to some antisocial residents in that area, and at the conclusion of that there will be a redevelopment of those properties in Pomare. As the Minister indicated, there is also some difficulty with tenants preferring not to be in the Pomare area.
Moana Mackay.
Why does he keep claiming that court action involving 3 families is preventing him from going ahead with promised renovations to more than 40 properties in the Pomare community?
Honourable Tony Ryle.
Mr Speaker, this is because the Minister is concerned that if there is to be redevelopment in Pomare in order to improve the standard of the houses there that the government inherited from that member's party, then it should be done at such a time when the antisocial element of that neighbourhood has been dealt with. Many people do not want to move to this area because of their concerns about those tenants, and until that matter is resolved, then there will not be the redevelopment that they would want.
Tim McIndoe.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. To the Minister, what commitment has the government made to providing appropriate housing for Housing New Zealand tenants?
Honourable Tony Ryle.
Mr Speaker, on behalf of the Minister, left a state housing portfolio in serious disrepair by the previous government, this government committed an additional $120 million to the housing portfolio in February last year. The corporation has completed over 20,000 upgrades to its homes since February 2009 at a total cost of almost $152 million, and it will complete another 8,000 upgrades in the next financial year. This government is also committed to increasing the state housing stock by 1,550 houses by June 2012. As at the 30th of April, we have delivered 647 of these new homes.
Moana Mackay.
Supplementary to the Minister, why is he choosing to punish an entire community for the actions of a few? And despite his claims that no one wants to live in Pomare, will he allow those people who on television last night said they would love to live there to have those state houses renovated and to move in?
Honourable Tony Ryle.
Oh, Mr Speaker, the Minister, on behalf of the Minister is not punishing a few people. The Minister is recognising that there is a community there in need of renewal in terms of the housing stock because so many mouldy and unsuitable houses were inherited from the previous government. People want to know that if they're going to bring up their kids in those houses, they shouldn't have to worry about an antisocial element who make that neighbourhood not what it could be.
Chris Hipkins.
Supplementary, Mr Speaker. Rather than continuing to stereotype the entire Pomare community based on the actions of a few people, will he accept an invitation from me to accompany him on a visit to the Pomare community to speak to the local residents firsthand and see the state of the houses they're asked to live in? And if he's willing to accept that, will he also bring with him the Minister of Health so that he can see firsthand the impact of the $300,000 funding cut their local health services is being imposed?
The Honourable Tony Ryle.
First of all, I'm sure it's not a neighbourhood where the local member needs to be accompanied by the Minister of Health to go there to visit. What I can tell that member, is that we would like the people of Pomare and indeed the entire Hutt Valley to know of the very poor state of the state housing stock that this government inherited, and that is why we have put millions into upgrading the state housing stock so that New Zealanders have more home opportunities.
Question number 7, Alan Peachy.
Question to the Minister of Education.